Okay, I'm gonna do a real quick recap of, last night's session. Just if anyone has any questions, I might as well go over it. I kind of had a different perspective on it than I think a lot of people did until we kind of moved towards New York session. So I'm gonna remove all these drawings. So we know that we did have this 4 hour gap right here. Let me put this full screen. We did have this 4 hour gap right here that was holding this. And low key, I was looking to short going into the day until I kind of just looked out and realized the range that we're actually in. And you really can't expect these external draws to get taken, especially after we take this fucking day and just don't even close anywhere near this previous wick. Um, ES is even more bullish, and we kind of just swept out the middle of this range. Just using like a simple fib, it's pretty easy to like tell when we're, you know, actually gonna break lower or not. There wasn't too much indicating that we wanted to go higher, except I did want this high going into overnight, and that was kind of my draw, just because we re-edged this low. I did take this on evals last night. Um, this trade right here, 4.75R, just back up to that high. But I would have held this trade up until this gap if I wasn't on evals, and here's why. Is we have to expect some sort of rebalance in this range, especially because we're taking range plays. Like, you can't take continuations when we're this deep into a market. Like, you can take a continuation up here because you know that we might not even take these lows, but we probably will take this one at least. And you also can't ignore, even though I did want shorts going into it, you can't ignore this push up realistically. Looking at the 1 hour, we're already like breaking higher lows and shit like that. When we do this, you can expect any reaction out of that just to dump lower. And here, I can show you guys before we go into that, or I'll show after. But basically, this is how you like catch a trade, right? So the daily opened right here, right? And if we want to go higher, this day, this wick that we put in is going to be the bottom of the day. So we open right here at 18. We put in this wick. We come back up and we retest the wick on the day that we've already made, right? Does that make sense? Like, we put in a wick, and I'm expecting that wick to hold because I'm expecting this next daily candle to be bullish. And if we do, we're not going to go put in a bigger wick after we already like had a wick. If that's a no wick, then I could understand. After pushing into that, that confirms that this to be the low of day, or at least low until we go and grab, this high, which was the high that, we went and swept out this impulse, came down, swept out, broke structure back above this impulse. So this is the price leg we're trading. Where would we go if we go ahead and reject this area? We're going to go to the top of that impulse, which was, that New York open on Tuesday. After we put in this low right here, after we put in this low right here and get a push out, you can expect these highs to get taken at least. And honestly, if you look at this next 4 hour, how it opens up and how it like manipulates, look at, we close this first hour like this, we do reject it, but this next one, we close like this, right? And I think there was something in that, yeah. Even this 1 hour, after closing up here and we push down, if we look at this leg that was put in on the 5 minute, that leg right there is the leg out of this daily low, or out of this low that we're expecting to hold, because that's the original wick that we had put in on this day. And after we test back into this, you can either take this right here, probably lines up pretty close to 0.5. But even if you want to, sometimes I like to just take the 0.5 of the gap. But honestly, after breaking this and pushing this lower, this is probably the price leg you want to do. Take this like right here. I'm sure on the 15, there's a reason to take this. Yeah, we take this like little wickless candle right here and instantly push up. You see, you know, some sort of reaction, and you genuinely could have taken this like that if you know this low is going to hold. And where do you hold this to? You hold it to here, or you have really high conviction that, like I said, this is going to be the daily low. So why would we trade back below this price if this is going to be the low of the day, and you hold it all the way up here? That's how I like go ahead and hold my trades. This trade at New York was pretty good. I mean, let's see. Yeah, like this is okay. Like you get like 1 to 2R holding up into here. If you like take this 1 minute inverse, I probably wouldn't take that inverse. I would probably have waited and taken this. Or if I did, yeah, like I might have just entered off like, literally this candle reacting, and then just held up here, and then probably realistically my stops would have been like right here. That's really how I would have taken this, because you can kind of expect this area to hold right here. A lot of times I'll literally just fucking start marking out random shit, like some support and resistance shit. And like you just kind of have to go to the time frame that it makes sense on. I mean, look, we push into this 1 hour gap. Yeah, I would have just held right here. You could literally play this like this under here if you're expecting this candle to hold and this to be like a little mini order block, and then you can just hold that up to wherever that next 4 hour gap is. That's pretty good, honestly. You just have to remember, like, you're playing in conditions. Like, people are really complaining about the conditions right now, but you can find great trades in here as long as you're like actually thinking about what the fuck is going on, thinking about this range that we're stuck in, and thinking about like how this is gonna play, you know? Like I wouldn't target all the way up here now at this point because we're putting in this range, but anything to like right here is really easy to catch. But like after that, like I'm not really sure what we're gonna do. This is a pretty good flip. So if we got really good displacement into Asia or next New York, like, yeah, you can catch a continuation up here, but it has to be strong and the candles have to be moving fast. If we just start chopping, once we take this high right here, it's like, bro, like, I don't really know, like, where we're going to go. We could go down and go up. Like, it's really hard. But really speed and, like, time in the market, like, if candles are moving fast, like, 1 hour candles are like, 40, 50, 100 points during Asia, or we have like 5 minute candles that are 40, 50 points during New York. Like that's pretty okay to like find a trade. But I also kind of want to go over the trades that I took last or like earlier this week, to show you guys just about like conviction. And so we hadn't put a weekly, like a wick on the bottom of this week. And so I was expecting that to happen all last week, and when it didn't happen, I was like, okay, like let's figure this out. Here's previous day. We got pushed up into the OTE, and I entered off this price legs OTE. Once we pushed down, I literally entered like this. And I was planning on holding this to New York Open the previous day, which was like that. You know, I round tripped like 15K. And I'm still holding conviction on this because there's still nothing. This is such a weak move up on the hourly. It's like, bro, like that's not showing me that we actually are flipping this range and want to go up. People would see this and be like, oh, a fucking inverse fair value gap. It's like, bro, like actually pay attention to what the fuck is going on. And as you can see later, the next day, we get this push down, this break below here on this candle. And then, so I don't know if this is like a rejection block or what you would call this, but a lot of times I would expect this candle to hold or that wick to hold because a lot of time I feel like we fill orders in the wick, not the bodies, right? So the wick is where we are getting all the volume down, so much volume to where we couldn't have even closed a body in that area. So if we retest that area, basically it's another like support and resistance thing where you'd think that we would just push down, right? It also kind of does line up with some like other bullshit that's kind of happening right here, some support and resistance shit. I don't know. I'm just like looking at the chart. So I still want this true day open, but I also was kind of thinking like if New York opens and we push down, this is pretty good. So what I did is this 15-minute candle up right here. As soon as we got any displacement out of it, so we're so high up in this range, or like, I guess not super duper high up, but looking at it like on the 15, we're so high up in this range that I'm expecting at least us like taking out this before going higher. So what you can do is after I got like a little bit of displacement out of this, you can kind of expect this to hold. And let's see, when did this happen? Look at how high up we are on ES. And we're stuck in between this high and this high. So as soon as we get that break lower on ES, I'm expecting all of this because this is like a bunch of shit right here. Like there's some real shit that's going on. Like a bunch of just, I don't know, lows, like stuff that looks like it needs to get filled. Like you'll understand it once you're trading for long enough. But we go back to this, and yeah, I probably can remember the exact candle I fucking entered off of. Yeah, I definitely entered off of that. And I caught, let's see, it was 17.4R. So it was like that. And as soon as we push up during London right here, I also added another like 5 micros. I added right here. So that brought my stop like down to like this high. And yeah, bro, I just let that shit run. We opened New York. I was kind of shitting myself because we could push back up. And yeah, I smacked 15K per account, so 45K. I requested 30. I did end up blowing the live account like a day later. I'm just full porting, bro, on like good trades. This trade I actually only risked 800, and then when we pushed back up to here, I risked another 400. So yeah, it was a really good trade, but it shows that you just kind of have to keep that conviction in like what the draw is gonna be, and like this, like bro, this is a real flip. Like this isn't a real flip. A lot of people might have thought long step to here, but this is not a real flip. Like if you look at this, it makes so much more sense why we would keep going up rather than going back down. That's really all I have to say for today. But if you have any questions, just let me know.